YouTube channel. Today we're going to look at the chart for one of the famous criminals, Al Capone, in the early 1930s, 20s. He was also known by some as Robin Hood. So he stole from the rich and gave to the poor. So if you look to the eastern horizon using a sidereal zodiac, you would see the Vedic astrology, the constellation associated with Aquarius rising at 20 degrees. Any planets that are close to that 20-degree rising sign have a lot of impact, like Moon and Venus. Well, first we're going to look and see how the planets are operating, then we'll see timing of events, when they're operating, and what we could do to strengthen the chart. So first off, let's look at Sun. Sun is at 4 degrees. It's ruling the house of partnerships, and it's placed in the 12th house. That has to do with separation, detachment, imprisonment. So through partnerships, he became imprisoned. Also, when Sun is weakly placed in the 12th house, it could indicate some stress with father. Moon is ruling the 6th house. Any planets that rule the 6th, multicorna signs that rule the 6th, 8th, or the 12th house can cause some challenges if they get through conjunction or aspect. For example, Moon is so ruling the house of health and healing and conflict, theft and cheating, and it's placed in the house of wealth. So it connects his ability to gain wealth through theft and cheating, also reputation. Then we have a weak placement of Mars, also placed in the 6th house. And Mars is ruling the house of success. So he gains success through business dealings that involve conflict, theft, and cheating, and also give him some sports ability. He was a baseball player for a few years prior to becoming a criminal. Let's see here. Then Mercury is ruling the 8th house, and again, multicorna signs ruling the 8th house can be challenging. 8th house has to do with windfalls and death-like experiences. And Mercury is placed in the house of income, and it's afflicted by Rahu. So this indicates that there can be business through manipulation, and and then Jupiter is ruling the house of income and connections, as well as fulfillment of desires, and it's placed in the 9th house. And it says that his income can come through issues with weak morality and government issues, avoidance of taxes, etc. Against the social norms, income can come through. And then we have Venus ruling the 9th house. And so the 9th house, again, has to do with good fortune. And good fortune, and it is placed in the house of career along with Saturn. So it says it connects career with good fortune and women. So there was some prostitution probably involved, illegal drugs, and alcohol as well. So Venus is also significator for wife. He did have a good marriage. Saturn is placed in the career house, ruling the house of name and fame. And life purpose. So it connects his life purpose to making money and to help other people. And again, he was considered a Robin Hood by some. The big thing that has a lot of effect in this chart is Rahu and Ketu. They are within 5 degrees of the rising sign degree, and so they afflict 6 out of the 12 houses. And they afflict the 5th house, which has to do with gambling, the 9th house, which has to do with morals and government issues, the 11th house of income, so translate into ill-gotten gains, and then the 1st house that has to do with reputation, and then the 3rd house that has to do with business and through deceit. So if we look at the timing of events, he got married in 1918 during a Venus period, Venus having to do with relationships, also had a son during that period. Again, Venus ruling the house of good fortune through children. And then we have in 1929 this famous massacre. He had several rival gangs, and there was a shootout, and that caused him to be arrested and imprisoned, all during a Mercury period. So again, death-like experiences. He was released in 1939 during a Saturn period, Saturn giving some relief in this situation. And then he died in 1947 of a cerebral hemorrhage, syphilis, and a stroke. So this was a moon Saturn period, moon having to do with health issues, Saturn having to do with longevity. And Saturn, in fact, at the day of his death, was afflicted by Mercury. So if you see in the circular chart, the inner circle is where the planets were when he was born, just like the square chart to the right. And the outer circle is where the transits were, transiting planets were on the day of death. So you can see Mercury is malefic, and it is afflicting the 12th house and the 6th house, close to, it's afflicting Saturn. So they're both around 12, 13 degrees, and Saturn is longevity. So, and it's the body, and it's the head, so cerebral hemorrhage. And then also you have Rahu and Ketu close to the most effective point, afflicting the 6th house of health, the 8th house of death-like experience, 12th house of end of life. So those are the main points of timing of events. What could we have done to strengthen the chart? Well, we want to transform and not strengthen Moon, Mercury, and also Rahu and Ketu by doing some charity work, which he was doing some of that. And then we want to strengthen the weak planets, Saturn, Venus, Sun, and Mars, and Jupiter with the kavash. Or you could wear the gemstones, but the kavash is a silver locket containing the Devata yantras for these particular planets. You can see them on our website, vastucreations.com. If you want to get a reading, you can go to Vastu Creations under Services. If you'd like to learn Transformational Vedic Astrology, as you see, it's quite accurate. You can go to Vastu Creations under Courses, and Level 2 course you can get certified to become astrologer. Thank you so much for listening. Join us next week.